Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, how are you? How are things going so far this morning for you?
Good. I'm very excited to talk to you. I played at Hot Docs in Toronto before, so I love the area.
Oh, yes. Well, we love having you, so you'll have to come back. And I'm glad that you're wearing your purple shirt, part of,
Yeah,
in honor of Barney.
I wore it 2 days in a row.
Okay. All right. That's too much information. Tommy, one of the main reasons I wanted to speak to you about this, my oldest son was born in 1992.
Okay,
Barney
perfect.
was a staple in our home.
Yeah.
Seriously. For his first birthday, I had a Barney guy come with the whole thing, right? Like, how does
Which
a
is illegal.
1-year-old?
But the Barney people sued people for coming to Barney thing. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So this is how my oldest son Ethan was obsessed with Barney, and hence, as a parent, we watched those videos over and over and over. So I got sick of Barney, but not to the
Right.
extent of wanting to kill Barney or hate him or in any way. So I have to ask you this. I just found your documentary. I'm sorry?
It's because you're a healthy person.
Well, okay. So like I said, I wanted to talk to you a bit because I wanted to know how this even started for you. I mean, you come off a documentary, you've made great docs, one on Bill Murray, who's the farthest from, Barney that we could ever get, right? How did this all come about? How did you even get started on this?
Yeah, it's funny. So there was this Canadian broadcast of it was a college in the University of Nebraska, and there was a Barney bashing event. It's a 1993 broadcast I saw online, and these kids in Nebraska were like throwing darts at Barney, hitting Barney with a hammer, just ripping Barney up. And the newscaster, which is a Canadian broadcaster, goes, "Well, that's the future of that country right there,"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, we are living in that future now. There is this level of hate, and wouldn't it be interesting to explore like where hate comes from, but doing
Right.
it through the story of Barney the dinosaur? Here's a character that just wanted to teach you how to love, and we as a society need to, rip it apart." So that was really the
Yeah.
genesis of the idea.
Yeah. And as I'm watching, I'm thinking, can you even imagine if Barney had come out in the time of when social media, like now? Like,
Yeah.
so if you think it was bad then, can you even imagine if something like that happened now?
But what's different about that is like, so he can't, he did tapes first, these are some of the tapes that Barney put out.
Yeah.
But then 1992, he was on PBS, and the creators of Barney really found like this hole in the children's programming market where, I mean, like Nick Jr. was just kind of starting. No one was
Right.
really playing to that sort of young audience. Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, they were talking to children, like big age range.
For sure.
But
Yeah.
Barney was so targeted that, now there's Nick Jr., there's Disney, there's Blippi Online, there's Bob, like
Everything.
Bob the Builder,
Yeah.
all these sort of things. So it's just, there's such a big market. So the level, I mean, sure, I'm the outrage. I mean, there's I Hate Blippi Facebook pages,
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, yeah, no one, you're never going to make everybody happy, or there's always people
Right.
out there. So, but when you started to kind of go through the research, I mean, clearly you didn't sit and watch 3 million episodes of Barney, that's for sure. Because you wanted to get people to talk about this whole thing. How hard was it for you to find your subjects, and even to when you went back to find some of the people who were actually in the show? I found that very fascinating too.
I mean, thank God for Facebook, right? Yeah, because you just find everyone on that way. But I mean, speaking to like Bob West, the voice of Barney, or
Yeah.
David Jordan, the body of Barney, it is a little bit easier to get to them. A little maybe harder to like earn their trust, in which thankfully we did. But the guy who did the Barney bashing event, University of Nebraska, or the person who created the I Hate Barney Secret Society, like these people do not have managers, they don't have agents.
Right.
And sometimes their names aren't like clearly stated. So it's like you have to kind of like do a lot of like investigation work and try to find these people. So that, I mean, once we had the guy who, created the University of Nebraska Barney bashing event, or the I Hate Secret Society, the I Hate Barney Secret Society, sit down with us, it was like,
Yeah.
wow, we couldn't believe it. It was like, we have Steve from Blue's Clues, we have Al Roker, we have like Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah.
very excited, very honored to have them. But like the guy who created the Barney Secret Society, you're like, oh, thank God, you know?
Yeah, just insane, like just mind blowing. Interesting too that you didn't have Cheryl Leech on, who was the creator of Barney, because at the end of the day, all she wanted was goodness. She created this character so that, you know, for good, you know. But did you speak to her like before to let her know that you were doing something like this?
Sure, sure. But you know, real quick to side note. So like when I saw that newscast and said that's the future of that country right there, you know, there's some great clips of Cheryl when she talked about Barney in the beginning, where
Yeah,
she talks about trying to create a world what the world could be. So it's really interesting thoughts here. It's like she wanted to create a world where maybe there is more love like Barney, but we as a society did the opposite and just like, well, that's the future of that country, you know? So you know, we can't have nice things. But with Cheryl, you know, I wrote her a really nice, long-winded email. She responded to me. She did her research. She watched some of my movies. She even gave me some notes.
wow,
You know, teachers, right? There's a lot of red
yeah,
marks. You know,
of course.
but, but we met, had lunch. We had this like 4 hour sort of lunch where we just shared stories. Like I want to say like laugh, cry. We like really got to know each other, and she's an amazing, beautiful person. But at the end of the day, you know, even during the time of Barney, they never acknowledged the backlash. They never addressed it. Even when some of the people, the crew, were like, maybe we should talk about this. Maybe we should get ahead of this. Instead of just like suing the San Diego Chicken for beating up Barney, they should
Yeah.
kind of like have something that she addressed, and she just never did. You know, and you know, if we were to make a movie called I Love You, I think she would have done it. But the fact that we talk about You Hate Me is something she just never wanted to explore.
Yeah, I can't blame her, of course. Yeah, but that's good that she was willing to talk to you. You know, I found
Yeah.
I love that. At the end of the day, what did you learn about yourself making a documentary like this?
Well, you know, it's like, you know, I think before this, I would have like my son loves Blippy. You know, we sing these songs about you know garbage trucks and all that sort of stuff in the car, and you know I hear it and I go, "Well, you know, maybe one day I would like to not listen to Blippy. You know, and you might want to get like angry, but then you know in doing this, it's like 'cause I
Yes,
was too old for Barney, but now I can really appreciate the role that a Barney-like character plays in your upbringing. Like
100%.
my Barney was Cookie Monster. Like, who would your Barney been?
Oh gosh, well, yeah, I mean, I grew up with Sesame Street too, even though I am a lot older than you, but that just the testament to how long it's been around, you know, Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers, things like that, for sure. You know, it's funny because I can't really remember a lot of my childhood, you know, because when I was that young, there weren't a ton of them, but I go through what my kids loved. And at the end, like why I asked you that question is because as much as Barney drove me crazy and I had to listen to that song over and over and over, it made my kids happy. And that's really what's all important, right?
And that's what I was saying. Like, you know, like having doing this documentary, it's like, well, why would I ever say something bad about a character that my son loves? You know, I mean,
Exactly.
here's something that, you know, it's their first friend that they get to decide. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not someone you were introduced to through your parents. It's not a family friend. It's someone they saw on TV and they're like, I like this. This is
Yeah.
what I like. This is me. And by saying as a parent, like, I don't like this, you shouldn't listen to this, or this is annoying to me, it's like there's a weird relationship you're starting to form with your child. And I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah. Well, listen, what a pleasure having the opportunity to talk to you. I hope you'll come back to Hot Docs again with your next project. And it's been really, you know, like I said, I thought you did a great job on this documentary. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
I'd love to. I remember going there and finding Degrassi Street. I thought that was really cool.
It is cool, right? There is a real Degrassi Street here in Toronto.
I love it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Nice to meet you. And thank you so much for your time today, Tommy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take it easy. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Okay, bye-bye.